Hi, today I would like to send a message out there to very important people. Minorities have always been segregated and isolated throughout history, and I know there are several countries, organizations, programs, and institutions that have struggled to reach to the point where we all are now, where human rights, especially those that belong to minorities, have been ignored or simply disregarded, even though millions of us have been galvanized into action. Definitely, we are in the fight for our rights to be respected, but this message that I want to put out there is intended mainly for children and teens who have suffered any sort of discrimination, um, not only from strangers or bullies at school, but from close relatives that are part of their families, and of course, for you, parents. Whenever we decide to open up our hearts and come out because we hate living in a lie and always wonder, why should I hide my essence, my truth, if it doesn't and won't hurt anybody? Why should I be ashamed if I love somebody? If love is sweet and tender, that love is about caring for someone who does also feel the same way for me. Don't you ever fear. Don't you ever fear. So that's the reason why I've decided to speak from my own experience and share an episode of my life that might have been filled with sadness, perhaps anger and pain. Pain that no one knew about, pain that stemmed from my parents not being able to understand and or accept me. Kids, teens, they're really smart and super sensitive. So you as parents have to be a lot more careful than you already are because they can tell when they're being discriminated, humiliated, or insulted somehow. Be careful with the way you look at your own kids, especially when they're wearing clothes that you may describe as unusual or somehow uncommon, but it's just their taste. Be also careful with the words you choose when reprimanding them, or think of even way much better reasons why you wouldn't let them have their special friend over. Don't push your kids away from you. They didn't choose to be different, to be gay or lesbian, just to make your lives miserable. Oh God, if we'd had a choice. As a matter of fact, our close relatives seem to judge us by our cover since they can't manage to get used to seeing us share our love and our caring and loving someone who is our same sex. And for that reason, my parents, my father, most of the time, at times my mother, and very often my siblings just criticize my reactions, my behavior, my isolation from home, because simply I was not allowed to have him around, to ask him to come over and spend my birthday, my own birthday, Christmas, and many other several occasions that meant a lot to me. And therefore, the only thing I wanted was to be able to share quality time with the people I deeply loved. But I wasn't allowed. I was always obliged to choose between them or him. So when I chose to stay strong and chose to be with my partner, I was cataloged as the evil one who didn't actually care for his own family. And obviously, that was so not true. Why do we have to be forced to live double lives? So now let me address to you, parents of gay kids. You must be the strength, the peace, and the solid support for which your kids need to seek. If you do not stop putting yourselves first, but instead you'd rather satanize your kid's sexual orientation just because you somehow may feel a bit embarrassed, if you're conservative, of course, a bit disappointed, or just afraid of the hard, tough life that is ahead for your kids, they will grow weak and feeling that they shouldn't have come to this world, feeling they're not deserving of your love and acceptance. And you don't want that for your kids. Believe me, you'd never want your kids to drift apart or run away begging for a bit of love or attention, which sometimes is just a masquerade others put on to take advantage of your kid's vulnerability. Therefore, try to accept your kids the way they are because you are who you are and they don't even try to change you. Be gentle and loving every time you see your kid or teenage child feeling down since there must be something going on in their lives. If they open up to you, it's because they trust you. And if they tell you they're gay or that they feel attracted to someone their same sex, take it normally and be their support system. Don't let your fears, your prejudice take over. There's nothing more beautiful than having a united family. Think about it. If I took away your job, your certifications, your diplomas, your degrees, the car you drive, or the huge house in which you live, or the clothes that you wear, what would be left? None of that really matters if you're not a happy family that nurtures each other every day, that feels compassion for each other, that holds each other tight whenever you need a shoulder to cry onto. Parents, yes, I'm speaking to you, all parents out there. Your children are a gift, heaven sent. Educate them with love and wisdom. Accept them. Gay kids go through everything. Don't become another indirect, unwanted bully to them. And you kids, this message is for you, kids and teenagers. Love your parents so much. They may be afraid, but I assure you, all they want is for you to be fine and for no one to ever hurt you. Sometimes their fear makes them react or say things they really don't want to say. Talk with them. Express what and how you feel all the time. Don't ever be afraid to say what you think. If you feel you're not loved, say it. If you feel strongly about who you love, say it. But always listen to your parents or relatives. An aunt, a grandma, maybe an uncle, because they love you and you love them too. Kids, be wiser, please, be smarter. Sometimes it's just the fact that some people are not ready yet to witness a variety of expressions of affection. If you think you'll be physically hurt, don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't waste your time. Don't risk your integrity or dignity. If you're living in a country where human rights are the least thing the government cares about, if you're not entirely protected by the laws, it's not worth being shot, killed, or beaten up. You parents, that's why you parents, you've got to love your kids because the world we live in now is becoming chaotic, violent, and desensitized. Yes, desensitized to the pain others undergo. There's no doubt you, Parents cannot change the world, but you can change your children's world by simply loving them so much and accepting them. Peace out.